Welcome to Channel Security Secrets. I'm Lou Rabon. On this show, we expose the untold secrets and critical insights from the people shaping the future of cybersecurity sales in the Trusted Advisor channel. If you're looking to up your game around selling security, stick around. Channel Security Secrets is brought to you by Cyber Defense Group, on a mission to shift cybersecurity from reactive to resilient.
And we're live, but like actually live. And I just got to say, happy International Podcasting Day to all of you out there, whether you're podcasters or podcast listeners. Congratulations. This day is all about us. It's all about making great content and having amazing conversations. And I'm joined today by two very special guests. I have Lou Rabon, the star of the podcast, the Channel Security Secrets podcast, which we will talk more about today. He's also the founder of the Cyber Defense Group. Also, Karen Sung, head of marketing from the Cyber Defense Group. And we're going to be chatting podcasting, talking about CDG, talking about security and diving into it. So welcome, both of you.
Thanks, Casey. Great to be here.
Thanks for
All
having
right, so
us.
we're going to roll up these sleeves. Lou, first one's coming at you. You have this amazing podcast, hours worth of conversation at this point, many episodes under your belt. Tell me, how do you describe this show that you have in just 3 words?
I think cybersecurity sales insights is the best way to put it. 3 words. And yeah, I don't know, since I only have 3 words, I think I'm about 12 now or something. So I don't know if you want me to go into more detail.
No, that's great. I mean, like insights on the sales side. Tell me about the ecosystem, Karen, that the CDG finds itself in and where this podcast fits into it.
Yeah, so we designed this podcast to be in a very specific ecosystem, and that ecosystem is a channel called Avant, and among others. But this channel was essentially born in telecommunications, and we're bringing cybersecurity into that channel. So it is a really amazing vehicle for us to be able to share more with this community and share that cybersecurity is not scary. It doesn't have to be a scary conversation.
Lou, what was it like going from founder of a company to now podcast host and having all these conversations?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical in the beginning. If it were my podcast and I said I want to speak about security, and it would just be a security geek podcast that maybe 10 people would probably care about or listen to. And under your tutelage and guidance and the teams and Karen's strong push, we said let's talk about security in the channel. And surprisingly, it's been awesome because there's conversations that I normally wouldn't have. And the most shocking thing for me is people are actually listening to it. So I'm like actually surprised that anyone wants to hear what we have to say. But I think it's a testament to who we're having on, the conversations we're having and stuff like that. So it's been it was a push. It's the first time I'm doing a podcast, but it's definitely been a great experience.
It's always a surprise, right? When people other than our moms and our spouses and friends and family listen to a pod, but it tells you you're feeling a need in the community and that people are hungry for this kind of information. Is this just not talked about? I mean, channel security, it's not new, but what's not being discussed out there?
For me, from my perspective, I think it's that we are new to the channel that we're working within. It's not, and without going too deeply into it, in technology, there's been a channel of like distributors that sell software and hardware, etc. This is a services distribution channel, and they used to sell bandwidth and data center. They still do, especially with AI now. We got to sprinkle AI into this, right? So
Right.
but this is real. The data centers are being consumed by AI right now. So these agents are going out there, and they've sold them traditionally, but they haven't sold security yet. And as you know, I mean, most people are not comfortable just off the cuff speaking about security, especially cybersecurity, digital protection, data protection. So, um, I that's why this hasn't happened before. I think because there's been a couple podcasts, but I think that we're the first ones doing specifically how to sell cybersecurity in the channel. And I know Karen has some great perspectives because she's the person that helped us launch this internally, at least.
Yeah, Karen, tell us about that process. And I know I mean your strong leadership said like, hey, let's go in this direction. Let's target this as our ideal customer, our ideal audience, guest, all of that. What was going on?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a big component to this, right? Like deciding what direction we wanted to take when we started this podcast. There was a lot of different directions. Like Lou really wanted to talk about cybersecurity. Um, and and then we realized that there's a gap and there's a need within the channel that we are working with. So that's why we decided on that. But, designing this show, it was about the trusted advisor and what is the value that we could bring to them. And I think that starts with the first opening question that we ask everyone, what's your secret to success in this channel or something similar to that. But designing that first question and making sure that we are filling a need and having a really meaningful conversation like this podcast has really evolved into something more than I think both Lou and I thought that it would be, right? So it's been really exciting along the way. And I've definitely listened to all the podcast episodes. So
Well, and that brings up a great question. Like when you have all these great individuals on pods and you get a chance to learn from them, I'm curious from both of you, what kind of lessons are you learning? What kind of insights are you getting? And I know you're sharing sales insights with the audience, but what kind of insights are you learning back?
For me, I think it's learning how the mechanics behind how sales works. I mean, just having, being the founder and stuff, as you mentioned earlier, Casey, it's only been the last probably 3, 4 years, not even that I've started to understand what goes behind sales. And there's a kind of a practitioner salesperson divide because normally I would be someone in a company that the salespeople would be trying to have a conversation with. And you take a one-dimensional view, like, okay, salespeople, they just want my time, blah, 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 sell me something. There's so much more behind it, and I think the biggest insights that I'm getting from the podcast are what, is important to people as they're going through this, and some of the recurring themes are trust. They're called trusted advisors, but not being transactional, really understanding how to, do a sale where you're not even necessarily selling, you're just interested in solving pain for your customers and being there for them not just when it's renewal time and stuff like that. And another thing is about having integrity. I think one of the recurring themes that I've heard, knowing when to say I don't know, and then being someone that they understand will they can come to, and they're going to get the real answer. They're not just going to get the thing that's going to make the salesperson the most money. So it's really kind of helping me, excuse me, understand how salespeople, the good ones, operate.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's those soft skills. It's those interpersonal connection traits like trust um and those are not things you can just click to acquire. You have to build that over time.
Mhm.
Karen, how about yourself? What kind of insights are you picking up?
yeah, I mean, I would echo exactly what Lewis said as well, trust. But I would also add in resiliency. These guys are really looking for ways to be resilient within this community. This has really been like a gold mine of information actually for me as a marketer.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it from a perspective of I'm learning so much more about so many different trusted advisors within this community. I mean, I've actually put all the transcripts and I continue to put all the transcripts into ChatGPT and I have it in a project folder and I can go to that and ask it, certain questions, which in turn enable us to have better conversations with our trusted advisors, allow us to have better content for our trusted advisors. We're going into meetings and enablement meetings, and, I can go into that repository and find, ways that they're thinking and the way that they're talking about security, and bring that into conversations that we have currently today to make it better.
Wow, it's really cool. It's like this meta loop of not only are you helping those listening better understand these things, but you're also taking full advantage of learning from your own customers and own potential prospects to create good content and to, lose points, sell without selling, just solve pain and then, see what happens from there. So it's great that it's not just like that surface level, oh, let's just do this, but we're going to trick you and we're all going to do it differently. But no, what we're presenting is exactly how we are too.
Big
Yeah, and something for me too is it's not just a vendor conversation. It's not just about products and services, right? Like, it's about practical solutions on selling and how to do that.
I mean, if this doesn't make you want to listen to a podcast, I don't know what does. But also hearing behind the scenes of like, yeah, we are listening to our own pod. We are doing what we're saying we're doing. Lou, that seemed to really resonate with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit not skeptical because full disclosure, maybe this is not the right statement to make on National Podcast Day, but
Live.
yeah, live, but I don't often listen to podcasts. I do once in a while, but it's not like my go-to. And
Yeah.
I know there are people that that's all they do, especially if they have a long commute and things like that. And it's a great way to get through it. And I have started to do that more now that I am a podcaster, to get tips and get better at it. So yeah, it resonates with me because I'm experiencing it firsthand where I'm like, wow, there's real value. That's when we started this, that was the thing. We didn't want to just make this an exercise in this is good for marketing. We wanted people to be able to extract some value from it. So, I mean, that's my goal. Every time that I'm having these conversations, we have a very light script. It's mostly conversational, as you know. But I really want to get deeper than just the surface level. I want to get into some more things that when people listen, I want them I want it to be compelling for them. So that's why I think it's resonating that this is a great forum where you wouldn't normally, in your normal day, if you pick up the phone and just have a conversation with someone, it might just be like, okay, meeting, let's go next. But when you're on a podcast with the camera rolling and the mic on, it creates a different environment that can, pull out some maybe different insights.
Yeah. How do you get that level below that deeper conversation?
Don't take the first answer as the you know that's the thing. It's really easy to be like, okay, next, let me just follow my script. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I've done that. Someone on your team, if I can call her out, is that acceptable? Avery, she's
Yeah.
awesome. I feel for her, having to listen to me all the time and edit edit my mistakes out, but she's given me some really great feedback as to how to be more compelling to listen to and stuff like that. And sometimes she's I told her don't pull any punches, and she hasn't. She's like, this one you could have done this, maybe in the next one you do that. And that's helping me because I'm like, wow, I didn't go deep enough there. I wasn't totally listening. Like, you have to listen too. It's not just like, let me just get on with it. You want to hear what they're saying and then really think about it if you can in the moment, and then say, wait a second, what do you mean by that? Let's go deeper there.
Yeah. Great answer. Next question. Right? Right? It's that
Exactly.
tell me more, like, understand what exactly is underneath there, but that has to keep you in, like, you have to be interested in it too. Otherwise,
Right.
then you're just sort of a talking, figurehead.
Yeah. No one's gonna listen to that.
Right, right. No, but it's it's always fun to whenever you go the second or third level, it almost feels like that's really where the treasure is. And
Mhm.
it's almost like you had to do the work to just get rid of that first surface level. Yeah, okay, cool. But then tell me, let's go dig below that to find what's really below. But you know what? You've put in so much. You've gotten these episodes out there. You are well past pod fading. That is in the distance. You're not gonna, start a pod and have it just petter out after 3 episodes. So you've got some experience. Looking back to when you first started, what would you say was like one of the biggest challenges?
I think understanding how to structure the show, and you guys did a great job helping with that. But me personally, because didn't have the experience. I mean, first the intros. I'm actually honestly still not really good at the intros. Like I just saw your intro, and I'm like
Sure.
trying to take some notes. Like
Oh, it was crap too. Mine was totally it's different
no.
format, but I appreciate that.
Well, no, it was much better than mine. And so I'm even re-recording an intro that I recently did.
Oh, yeah,
For
okay.
Avery, yeah, because it just didn't hit the mark. So intros are still a problem for me. Not even, that's an ongoing thing. I got to get better at that because I am reading at that point.
Oh, sure.
And yeah, I guess the challenge was that it was I didn't understand the format yet because I hadn't done enough of it. It's kind of like anything, once you
Yeah.
start in the beginning, you're just a big unknown. So I'm getting more comfortable with the conversational aspect. I don't need my notes as much. Those challenges are going away. And now the challenges are just getting better at it.
Yeah, right, and what's crazy is, like, each and every episode is an opportunity to do that.
Mhm.
Karen, what about you? Any challenges come to mind? You are just such a badass marketer, by the way. You could say no answer because I feel like challenges run the opposite direction when you come, but I don't know if you think it's
I
true.
wish that would be nice. Yeah, I mean, to Lou's point, I think, he is a great conversationalist to begin with. So he's doing a really good job, like, digging under there and actually having a conversation versus asking those questions. But like challenges for me as a marketer, I would say, it comes from a totally different angle, right? I'm not on the podcast, I'm asking the questions. So for me, it was more of a logistics thing, right? Like, how is this podcast going to help us from a marketing perspective, like for SEO, for backlinks, for, all of the different things that we want a podcast to help us with. Those were the things that I had to think about when we were setting up the show. And then, even before that, it would be, who is our audience? Why do we want to speak to this audience? What is the thing that they want to learn? How are we going to provide value to them? So I'd say those are the two, areas that were the most challenging. And now, it's pretty simple from, a logistics point of view for me. We are just kind of like running into the podcast now and it's going, and I can see like I've set up some dashboards so I can see the metrics of how our podcasts are performing. And I can see, like which ones are performing better. And, I have given Lou my own notes as well. Like I think, we only learn from the things that maybe didn't go as well as we wanted them to go. And, the fact that we're learning and evolving as we go, it's really exciting to see the progress as we evolve and move on to our next podcast.
Yeah. No, in launching the podcast with both of you, I was really excited to be able to have you both on this live to celebrate your podcast because sometimes we're launching a podcast and we don't have that marketing leader, closely associated with the project or even at the company. And then oftentimes those conversations of who should we be talking to, they can be very misguided or not very intentional. And so it was very cool working with you guys from the beginning to be like, okay, intentionally, let's target these people. Let's have great conversations. We can help these people. Let's get them on the pod. So that was always great. And but I gotta say, Lou, you're getting notes from Avery and from Karen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but to be clear, Casey, your team has done an amazing job of like getting us to this point. Without your team and without that support and without, all of your documentation and all of your, step-by-step instructions, we wouldn't be here today. So, thank you and kudos to everyone on your team. You guys have built something really cool.
I appreciate that, and I know Avery and the rest of the team do, and Christina on launch and all that. It's been fun seeing this thing come to life and brand and the secrets. Everyone wants to know the secrets, and I know we're gonna talk more about repurposing content is really the thing, and I'm glad you're obsessed with that, Karen, because we got to figure out how to. We have this really good conversation. Let's do whatever we need to do, slice and dice it, and get everyone a chance to consume it. Um, but kind of a shift to a fun question here. I don't know for either of you if any behind the scenes bloopers have occurred or any moments from off the camera.
Yeah, I think, well, one of the things that I've got now in my notes is do not close your browser tab. And then at the end of the show, do not close your browser tab because what we're using, it records in the browser. Apparently, it doesn't cache it locally, so I've had to re-record. I'm actually doing that this week, one of the episodes. So we did a whole hour episode completely. The audio was preserved, but the video wasn't. And so we spoke to the guests, and they were like, "Yeah, that's fine." And they're very cool and a great person to speak to. So, yeah, we both don't mind redoing it, but that's probably I don't know how
Close your
fun that
browser.
is. Yeah, that's more of a cautionary tale than anything else.
Totally. How about you, Karen? Anything behind the scenes that stood out?
I don't, I don't have any bloopers. I think, for me, it was the whole, I had to do a Zapier connection to make sure that the podcast was going onto our website. So that was like a whole deal, but, no bloopers exactly.
That was a deal. Yeah, I remember that. That's kudos for sorting that out. Yeah, not everyone is leveraging it to that extent. So that's really, really
We
impressive.
try to be streamlined around here.
Yeah, right. Well, might as well.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, if either of you were chatting with, another founder, marketing leader at a B2B company, and they're either just starting out or haven't started out on a podcast yet, any advice you would give them?
I would say be prepared to give this full attention and some time in the beginning, especially. And like, if you don't have the time for it, like you better carve out the time for it. And this is having a podcast like this and finding a meaningful audience, finding an audience and a meaningful conversation can be so helpful to your brand and to your product or service or whatever you're doing. So I would say just, carve out that time and be dedicated to it, and it will pay off because it's a lot of time in the beginning, but as you start to get a cadence, it will even out. I don't know if I can say the same about Lou because he's at the one recording the podcast weekly. So
Yeah, no, I mean, it's spot on. Karen was a strong, advocate for doing this. In the beginning, I was not skeptical, but it's time commitment. What I
Mhm.
would say is the advice is, yeah, it's worth it. Definitely, go for it because I think there's so many requisite benefits to it, such as you're getting content. To your point, where which you can repurpose, put on the site, put it on LinkedIn, spread it around, keep it fresh. And then having Ringmaster actually produce this for us makes it a lot easier. I've spoken to a couple guests that also have their own pods, and they're doing the editing themselves. I'm like, I don't know how you have the time in the day. The fact that you're bringing a team, you're making it easy for us, Casey. It's basically show up, and all the prep work that's done. To Karen's point, you got to do the prep work before, not just before the pod is launched, but also within it. And that's what I've learned. Like, one of the reasons my intros tend to be flat is my schedule's packed. So I'm going from like context switching crazy, and then meeting, and then I'm like, okay, drop the meeting. I'm 2 minutes late for the pod, and I haven't even looked at the guests that I'm speaking to, like their notes. And so it's funny, like literally right before this, or maybe even while I was in the waiting green room here, I was is slacking with Avery, and I said, hey, I'm gonna put a buffer now between these guests, because and that would be advice I would give, is take the time, not just in the prep. Like, well, one, do it. Everyone should definitely do a podcast. I think if they've got something to say, like if you're just going to read from a script or something, it's not worth it. Like, really commit to it. And then, as Karen said, put the time in for the prep before, you even launch, but then make sure you have a buffer. That's one of my big learnings before, like 15 minutes before, so you can kind of clear your head, do some maybe voice. You can hear, I came from a meeting here. I'm having voice like out. So it's like,
Get some water.
yeah, like get some water, like,
Yes.
exactly. And then take the time before you actually are recording to kind of get your head straight, get your notes about the guest, things like that. Those are the big ones.
Yeah, wise words.
I
Thanks.
would say one more, to add
Yeah.
one more.
Yeah.
Also, when you're picking your speaker, to make sure that that person is an engaging speaker, that they can have a conversation that is not just answering questions or asking questions, right? Not everybody is good at it. I'm not good at it, but making sure that you pick somebody that is comfortable with that and being engaging in that back and forth banter.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I know we're still trying to find a replacement for Lou, but job post is still out there. No, Lou, you do a good job. And again, it's getting, asking those questions and finding out more about them as a person, not just as, that role they are at their company.
Yeah.
So CDG, Cyber Defense Group, sponsoring the show, making the show happen. Who are you guys? What do you do?
Yeah, I guess that's an appropriate place for me to start. We do cybersecurity consulting, strategic advisory, really helping companies embed security programs or improve their security programs. We're aimed at the mid-market and enterprise. We do sell through this trusted advisor channel, although we have direct clients as well. And our value proposition is that we are a fixed rate. If you can find a consultant that's fixed rate these days, over a recurring period, we do these programs over multiple years. And therefore, we keep it at a fixed cost because we have these long-term relationships, and we're all practitioners. We've all been cybersecurity, titled in Fortune 500 companies, doing this for other, bigger companies, and therefore, it makes us we've been there, done that. So that's pretty much who we are. There's a lot more behind that, but I think at a high level, Karen, please, if I've
And the
missed.
one thing that you didn't mention is that we base off of outcomes. So we're outcomes-based security. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of other consulting firms out there that, they give you an hourly rate card. We base our programs on outcomes and the outcomes that are meant for each business. So they're customized for each business.
Yeah. By the way, that's the trademark for outcomes-based security right there. So
Wow.
probably
Look
should
at
have.
that trademark.
I know I should have
Outcomes-based
led with
security.
that. Yeah. So
Wow.
because that's when you think about security programs, I mean, security is such a big, seemingly complex target or topic, and it's not actually that complex, at least to us, because it really is about repeatable processes, continuous improvement, etc., and outcomes based on what you want to achieve. So if your business is an online company and you don't want to get something bad happening, you will embed a security program that can catch bad things and make sure that you can get over them when it happens, not if, but when. And that's what outcomes are. Like the outcome is the site stays up. We've treated our risks to an appropriate point. And so thanks, Karen, for reminding me about our trademark. But yeah, outcome we have kind of cornered that as part of our services that we're providing, that they're all outcomes based.
Wow. Powerful. Yeah, I love that both of you have the passion is visible there. And the idea of the outcome, like who doesn't want that? I don't just want to pay a rate card to have unknown outcomes. Like
Exactly.
seems
That's
like a
the
no-brainer,
consulting
but it
model.
has to be said,
Yeah, that's what we're solving for because that's been the traditional consulting model.
Yeah. All right. Well, I would end with that, but I have one more question to throw at both of you. Bit of a hypothetical question because the rumor is I might have a time machine here in New Hampshire. So the next time you guys come to a customer event in Boston or whatnot, come north a little bit, get some lobster, some beer, and use a time machine.
Definitely.
But particular kind. So we're gonna go in the future. We're gonna see your podcast 50 episodes from now, like a full year from now. Just curious, what would you love to see? What would you love to think about it at that point?
What I Karen, what do you think? You want me
Oh,
to?
gosh, a big
Yeah.
question. I think
Yeah.
I would love to just see the continued relationships that we've bridged with all of these conversations. Like that's 50 conversations with 50 different people. And then if you count the prep time, once or twice before that, that's 100 conversations. So I'd love to see stronger relationships that have been built because of the conversations that we're having. And that was, generally the main purpose of the show, but it evolved to something much bigger than that. So I'd like to see just, better relationships with the people that we've talked to, and see more cadence with those people.
Yeah, and for me, I'd like to look at the metrics and determine which episodes really hit, so we can then do the next 50 and determine who our guests are and the content based on that. Do we keep it, really secrets focused, or maybe it's more, maybe we go more into cyber, maybe we go more into sales. Whatever the case, I think I would like to, after 50 episodes, there should be
When the-
enough information. Yeah,
yeah.
and go to the next
Yeah.
50.
And also what you like talking about too, and what results with, what the audience, what they resounds with them.
Yep.
Maybe it's a little bit of both. Maybe it's all the above with those. Go
Yeah.
have some deep dives, have some more sales corners. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
sky's the limit with that. That's
I'd
great.
love I'd love to get some, pick some stocks too that 50 years in the future, or 1 year in the future, I can, once I've, chosen them in your time machine, I can invest in them when I go back a year, and then we'll have a great conversation.
Well, there's a commission
There
on
you
that.
go.
There's a finder's fee on that time travel. Just so you know. Well, this has been fantastic. Hey, where can people go if they want to learn more about Cyber Defense Group? If they want to get the podcast, where should they go?
Yeah, they can go to cdg.io. That's our website, Cyber Defense Group. And for the channel podcast, it's called Channel Security Secret. And it's on literally anything you can watch or listen to a podcast on: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all of the above, plus more that I don't even know what the names of them are. So it's called Channel Security Secret.
Awesome. Yeah, and I like to subscribe on Spotify. It's great. See, looks really cool artwork and everything. Well, guys, this has been awesome. Luke, Karen, thank you so much for coming on here. I feel like this has been like a mini masterclass, and talking about outcomes and the kind of security that you guys provide, and the environment you're in, the industry that you're in, the fact that you've been using podcasts to address it. Like, this has been fantastic. Thank you both for coming on here.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Casey.
having us. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And for those listening, if you learned something, go check this thing out. And with that, everyone have a great and very happy International Podcast Day. We'll see you on the next one.
That's a wrap for this episode of Channel Security Secrets. Thanks for tuning in. For show notes, guest info, and more episodes, visit us at channelsecuritysecrets.com. Channel Security Secrets is sponsored by Cyber Defense Group. When it comes to protecting your business, don't settle for reactive. Partner with experts who build resilience from the ground up.